Welcome, welcome. I am back. I missed last week, but I am here and we are finishing out. It's the last day of September and we are finishing out our exploration of ways into the industry. And today we're going to be diving into building your screenwriting brand. All right. So, one of the ways to get noticed in the industry is actually be seen and heard. There is so much noise out there, there's so much content, there's so many people, and everybody's trying to get a job. But being seen, being heard, and letting yourself be seen and heard can be a way of getting on people's radar. This is why building a brand can help elevate your profile, build your audience, and potentially get industry attention. So this can be done in a number of avenues, and we're going to talk about it. So let me introduce myself. If you don't know me, my name is Kristen Iris Johnson. I am a showrunner, screenwriter, film producer, and the CEO here at Black Screenwriter Alliance, where we bring together emerging Black film and TV writers to learn how to forge their own paths in the industry, but with allies, because we're all about support and community and connection. So, and actually, connection is important because that is a bit of what branding is about. Right now, I am not like a branding guru. Okay. I'm not a branding expert um, in like any kind of formal sense, but I have, in my own ways, been building my brand for several years. And there are some things that I have noticed about brand building and as a screenwriter, as a showrunner, that I think I can share with you guys. So, um, yeah, let's dive in. All right. So, what is branding? Right? That's a good question. And I don't have a formal answer. So, like, literally, you can go Google, like, what is branding? But branding can look differently in different kinds of contexts. There's business branding, there's branding for like actual companies, there's branding for individual people. But what I would say, because this can be kind of confusing for people, I think that the easiest way to put this is to say that branding is a way of showing people who you are, what you stand for, and it's how you want to present yourself to the world. And this is often catered to what is your desired outcome, right? So, for example, if your desired outcome is to, write screenplays, you really just like writing is like your main thing, then branding yourself as a writer is what you want to do. Is you want to make sure that when people are thinking of you, they're thinking of you as a writer. Now, if you're someone who's like, yeah, I write on the side, but I really like doing this other thing, then your branding might be about whatever that other thing is. Like if you have a business, like I'm a writer, a showrunner, producer. That is how I brand myself. But I also have a company. And my business, Black Screenwriter Alliance, has its own branding. And being on this platform, there's like me coming through and like my brand, but like this is really Black Screenwriter Alliance. And what I show up here for is for emerging Black film and TV writers. I'm not on this channel. I didn't create this channel. I'm not on this page to necessarily be like, oh, I'm expecting people to find me and then want to hire me. That's not what this page is for. The branding for this page and the branding for Black Screenwriter Alliance is all about connecting Black film and TV writers with each other, building those connections, building genuine relationships so that you can build pathways in the industry. Right. So Black Screenwriter Alliance has its own branding, but then there's like Kristen, and I have my branding. And because I'm a person and not a business, that gets to be a little like, oh, what am I doing with this? Like I literally have a whole separate channel actually for my myself. I haven't really done anything with it. I'm still working on that because I'm kind of stuck on like, thinking about what do I want to present without presenting my whole entire life because I don't need everybody in my business. Um, but that is going to be like its own branding that is really me as a screenwriter, as a showrunner, but also as a queer, autistic, disabled screenwriter and showrunner who is also trying to navigate the world with these disabilities that I have. So when you are thinking about branding, think of it as like how do you want to present yourself to the world? Who are you? What do you stand for? And um how do you want to use your voice? right? Like, what is it that you want to make heard in the noise of the world? All right. So let's talk about like why brand yourself in this day and age and the way the industry is. Branding and again, branding as in being intentional about how you present yourself, what you stand for, who you are, and building on the where, like really the where you want to go, how you want people to identify you. One of the things, especially right now, that I have seen, that a lot of people have seen, that a lot of people have been talking about is um that it used to be in the industry is like if you want to do something, get really really good at one thing, right? Like get really good. If you want to write, get really really good at writing and like make that your thing. That is like not the case anymore in this industry. um it is, and I actually attended a great 5-day summit in I believe it was June or July with the Arnold Academy that was basically about how to navigate this landscape. And one of the things that was repeatedly said is like it's no longer about being like the master of one, it's about being a jack of all trades. And so when you are able to present yourself, like this is a way of helping you stand out from everyone else. What are the things that make you different, that make you unique? What are the perspectives that you have to share? When you are able to show people what it is about you that is different than what they're seeing from other people, what it is that, like, the combination of things that makes you different, it makes you stand out, it makes you more memorable, and it can also bring in things that people are like, oh, they've got this perspective or this experience or this talent or this whatever. Maybe it's a skill, whatever it is. And that's something that we can use. So, in this day and age, building your brand is about sharing your unique voice, not everybody else's voice, not the voice you think you're supposed to have, not the voice that you think you're supposed to present to the world, but your actual, genuine, authentic, unique voice that gives people an idea of who you are and what they can expect if they interact with you or if they work with you. Um, and so, it gives them the idea of who you are. And I say that word intentionally because this is where you got to like be careful. Technically, you can present yourself any way that you want. You can be completely fake and inauthentic and present yourself as someone that is really not who you are. Branding really is about like who are you presenting and how you want to show yourself. I do not recommend doing that. I very very much do not recommend doing that. Um, Not being authentic, okay, I should say this. Being authentic and genuine is what helps to build connection, and it's what helps people to trust you, right? If you are fake, if you present yourself in a way that is not authentic, if you present yourself in a way that is fake, you're gonna find yourself trying to like keep up with this persona, and eventually, when people work with you, they're gonna figure out who you are. And either they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're, like, kinda weird and quirky, and, like, I like it. You should be more of that," because they can see that you're trying to hide your true self in a sense of, like, "Oh, I'm afraid because maybe I'm different and I don't wanna show that." Or they're gonna be like, "Oh, this person is trash. Like, this person is not someone that I wanna engage with. They're, like they seem like a really giving person, but they're actually just really vicious. They talk behind your back." Like, also, this goes with, like, don't be a shitty person. How about that? Start there. Um, but you don't wanna be a fake person. You want to bring your authentic self because people will connect with and get to know and trust, even though again this is presentation, so they don't really know you to trust you. But when you are genuine and authentic, people will start to trust you, even though that's like not safe. But people will start to trust you, they will feel connected to you. It will also allow you to speak authentically from yourself, from your experiences, from your history. And that means that gives people something to relate to, right? That means you're going to attract your people. When you are genuine and authentic, you will attract your people. The people who like you, the people who are like, yeah, I like what they say about this, or I like their perspective on this. The people who are like, oh, I just learned something from this person and I really like that. I really like their perspective. They're opening my eyes about something. The people who are attracted to the person that you are going to flock to you. Those are the people you want. Now, if you start presenting yourself in a fake way, you're going to attract people that aren't actually attracted to you. They're just attracted to the persona that you have to keep up if you're trying to like keep up with the Joneses. And that is going to like backfire in the long run, because people will have a certain perception of you, and then when they work with you, it's not going to be in alignment, and that will make people not trust you. Now, I am not saying you got to put all your business out in the world, right? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is be authentic, be genuine, share your true voice, share your real perspectives, bring those things to the world, and the world is going to respond. And the right people are going to find you. Some wrong people might find you, and they may not like you. And honestly, sometimes that's how it is. Um, but when you bring that authenticity to your brand, to yourself, you then really get to show up more fully as who you are and to bring that to the world. And I have to say, especially in this industry, um, and as Black people in this industry, I think it is so important for us to show up authentically, and to show up as who we are, because we are so vast and varied. And people in the industry, people and beyond the industry, they need to really see who we are and not the idea and the stories and the narratives about Black people. When we can be authentic, we get to broaden, we get to show people who we are and what we bring. And that is something that's powerful. And that actually can help to pave the way for other people. That's one of the reasons why I am not shy about being autistic. Well, there's a couple reasons. But even in my branding, as part of my branding, if you will say, as part of how I present myself to the world, I am honest about being authentic, because one, it's if people can know that about me and they have like a problem with me being autistic, we're not going to work well together, right? And honestly, you shouldn't have a problem with me being autistic unless you don't really know what that means. Um, and so that's part of why I say it, is like, I want people to know what they're getting, but also I know that as I put myself out there as an autistic writer, as an autistic showrunner, as an autistic CEO, and everything that goes along with that, somebody is able to look at me and be like, oh, okay, wait, I'm not alone. I'm autistic. She's autistic. I can do this. Like, all right, like now I'm seeing somebody else who's out there, instead of just the ideas of the neurotypical or the cisgendered or the straight heterosexual. I know that's redundant, but um in presenting myself as like, these are aspects of me. I'm queer because, like, honestly, I don't want to work with homophobic people. They're going to aggravate me. I'm queer, I'm autistic. So, right out the gate, that, and that opens the door for me to have conversation about what that means and what you're going to get when you're working with me, the good and the bad. Um, and also showing people that, like, yes, I have these labels. Like, it's not a box, it's a label. You put like a bunch of labels on a person. These are some of the things that I identify as. These are some of the experiences I have, and guess what, I'm still out here doing it. And if you have these identities too, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. um, and that for me is important. That's important for, honestly, that's important for my brand, because one of my passions is being able to elevate Black people, marginalized people, queer people, disabled people, neurodiverse people, to be able to elevate them and empower them to step into their power, their impact, ignite them into action and into their creativity. That is part of my mission, and that's part of my brand as well. And to do that means that I also have to show up fully as myself. So I do that for that reason. Um, it on the it gives people a little bit more of like, oh, this is who I'm working with. She's this, she's this, she's this, and kind of weeds out people that may not want to work with me for whatever reason. But also that representation piece of part of my branding is to empower other people, and that means showing them what I am able to do, where my challenges are in the identities and the marginalizations that I live with. So again, that's me showing up authentically. If I didn't care about that, or if I was really, really good at hiding, which I'm not, like the weird comes out, then maybe I wouldn't care about that. Maybe I would just like hide those things. Like I said, you don't have to present everything in the world. Like I'm not trying to have everybody in my business, but there's certain things about me and about how I want to work, who I want to work with, and who I want to inspire that all come together into, okay, so I want to make sure that people know this about me because it's not really about the brand, but it is important in how I want to present myself to the world, which is like branding. But I don't think of it as branding. I think of it as how I want to present myself to the world and how I want to make an impact on the world. And that is in showing up. So I highly recommend that you are authentic in how you present yourself, in your voice, in the things that you share, just like I recommend being authentic in your writing, right? Because if you're not, it can come through. It can come through. Um, but when you're authentic in what you write and in what you choose to write, what you choose to share, the creativity flows more and the story can come through in a more powerful way. So now that I've rambled about like what is branding and why brand yourself, um, let's talk about different avenues. All right. So this is not in any way an exhaustive list, but these are just some of the things that I thought about. Avenues. So first of all, really, probably really popular one, and the thing that people think of a lot is like a website. One, you don't need a website. Okay. Do I have a website? I do have a website. Is my website specifically branded for me as a showrunner, screenwriter, producer? Yes, it is. Is it really making a dent in terms of my career? Not really, but it is there. I do have it. And that was but it's honestly, it's definitely not something that you need. You really, really don't have to have a website. Um, Social media accounts, those are different avenues. Like you can have social media accounts, but that's not the same as like what are you doing on those accounts, right? So there's a website, which you don't need. There's social media accounts, which is a really good way of getting yourself out there. TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. I'm not going to give you too much advice on what of these platforms to do, but I say choose where you like to play. Like TikTok is super popular. You are going to find people who are like, you have to have a TikTok. You have to have a TikTok. Um, I had a TikTok. I've deactivated it multiple times. It is currently deactivated. I hate TikTok. I really do. I don't like being on it. And if I don't like being somewhere, I don't want to build my brand there because that's not, to me, in my big age, I feel like it is just not in my what was I going to say, not in my favor. It's just I just don't have the time to spend on a platform that I don't actually like spending time on. Like that's not a good use of my time, is being on a platform that I can't stand. It'd be different if I had like a social media manager, which I don't. Then they could go on there or repurpose content. But me, I don't like being on TikTok, so I don't spend my time there. I tried it for 6 months and I said, I hate this. I hate this. I don't want to be on here, bye. Also, TikTok is like the whole US TikTok app is there's like a new one that's coming that is going to be basically run by the government and Israel. So I caution everybody against getting on this TikTok app. Anyways, that's actually not the point. My point is there are various social media channels. Find the one that works for you, start to build there. There's also YouTube. Like YouTube is actually a really great platform for branding, for building yourself up, for content creation, like specifically content creation, which is why I have this channel and I have actually like a whole other YouTube channel that I will be growing that is for me, as I mentioned earlier. But if you are doing any kind of content creation, if that something that you are good at, if it's comedy, if it's skits, if it's whatever it is, if it's just having conversations, if it's just sharing your perspective, if it's like giving insight on a particular topic that you like, whatever it is that you are doing, YouTube is a good platform if you are if you can manage that. Of course somebody is like at my door. Um because it's got the highest streaming of like literally all streamers. So that is that's a really good avenue. You can get a lot of eyes. And, if you want to spend the time actually learning how to build on YouTube. But specifically for content creation, YouTube is a good platform. All right. The other avenues, and this has to do with content creation, um, newsletters, blogs, Substack. I refuse to do a blog because I like to preserve my writing for my writing. These are also avenues where you can present yourself, where you can share your voice, where you can build an audience, right? Building an audience. I don't know why executives still want to see you build an audience. I don't know how true that is for writers. To be honest, I don't know, because I don't know a lot of writers or showrunners that have like really big audiences unless they were really famous already. But I know that when it comes to like acting, social media is a really big social media following is like a really big element, even when people are considering you for casting. I don't love that, but it is what it is. So there may also be some of the wanting people to have an audience. I don't know, I haven't really heard that, just something to consider. But newsletters, blogs, Substack, things that build your audience, that get your voice out there, that have you sharing something, those are avenues. Being a guest on podcasts, all right, that's another avenue. Or starting your own podcast if you have something that you want to share, something you want to say. Speaking, all right, speaking is a good avenue for building your brand, building your profile, getting yourself out there. Now, to be clear, speaking does not have to be about writing, right? Like you don't have to speak about writing, but whatever it is that you are speaking about, it puts you and your voice out there, right? In a way where you get to be authentic, you get to be genuine, and you get to make an impact on people. Whoever it is that you were speaking to, you get to make an impact on them. And that is powerful. People like that. People like people who can make an impact. And that builds connection, and it builds trust, and it gets people to I was going to say connect with you, but that's the connection piece. It gets people to feel like they know a little more about you and who you are and what you stand for, right? And that is all things that can be helpful in brand building. So as you build a brand, build an audience, um, build your presence online, these are things that can um in I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. These are things that elevate your profile, but in a very real way, in particular with content creation, if you can start building an audience, it also, that's a good sign, right? Like, I think that's a good sign to executives, because they're like, oh, person knows how to draw people in. This person is creating content that draws people in. And that's not going to hurt you. That's not going to hurt you. So, like I said, building a brand is all about, in my opinion, the best brand building is about being authentic, being genuine, and really deciding how it is, like what parts of yourself and how you want to show up in the world to be able to share your voice, share your perspective, and I like make an impact. Maybe everybody doesn't want to make an impact, but I feel like a lot of us Black film and TV writers do want to make an impact with our work. And if you want to make an impact with your work, you can make an impact with your brand as well. You don't just have to make an impact with the script that you write that may or may not get on screen. You can make an impact with your brand as well. And that people will rally. Like, people will rally behind you when they believe in what you stand for, when they believe in you, when they believe in what you're doing, when they believe in what you have to say. People will rally behind you. And that can be powerful, even just in knowing that you've got people supporting you. So these are my thoughts on branding. I want to know, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing to build your brand? What are you doing to share your voice, to share your perspective, to get out there in the world as a writer or creator or whatever, whatever intersections you may have. You're like, I'm a writer producer, or I'm a writer director, or a writer actor, or just a writer, whatever it is that you are doing, and that you want to do. How are you putting yourself out there in the world? And I also actually want to talk, just for a quick second, on the idea, because it's just occurred to me. If you are someone who's like, oh, I haven't really produced anything, so I don't want to, like, I'm afraid to, like, build my brand, I would love for you to comment and share more about that, because I think that sometimes we have an idea of, like, you have to make it before you can say you are a screen. If you're writing scripts, you're a screenwriter. S- there are a lot of scripts that have been written, that have been sold, that never made it to screen, that got killed, in that process. They got bought, never made it. That doesn't mean that you are not a screenwriter just because it didn't go to screen. Um so I would encourage you, if you are like, well, I have to wait until, I would encourage you to start to reframe that and understand that building your brand is also about building your presence and potentially creating opportunities for yourself, because you are showing up as yourself, you are presenting content, you are possibly storytelling in other ways. So I would encourage you to look at, how can I still build my brand even though I haven't made it? Or if you feel that imposter syndrome of, like, oh, I haven't gotten this far, or I haven't done this, or I have to do this first, is walk that back, and, like I said, see this as a way of being able to create opportunities for you by sharing yourself authentically, and look at, okay, how can I do that, and really let this be an opportunity for you to own what it is that you do, to own that you are a writer, to own where you want to go, and to take action towards that, right? To take action. If you're like, I'm a writer, I want to do this one day, take action towards that. Building your brand is an action towards that. So let yourself own that you are a writer, own that you are a creative, own that you have a voice, own that you have something to say, own that you want to make an impact. Let yourself really own that, so that you can take the action that is aligned with that, because that will lead you further on that journey. So if that is you, I also want you to comment, let me know. I would love to hear what your experiences are, and I would love for you to share any ways that you are building your brand, any clever things that you thought of. Because, like I said, this is not in any way an exhaustive list. This is really just like scratching the surface of it. So definitely share in the comments, because people can learn. You guys can learn from each other, and make sure that you come and join us in Black Screenwriter Alliance. It is our community. You could try it free for 7 days, blackscreenwriteralliance.mn.co, because inside we have community, we have workshops, we have industry guests, we have goal setting calls, we have accountability resources. We have a lot of things in there, and it's really a space for you to be able to build connection with other Black film and TV writers, so that you can forge your path forward, elevate your writing portfolio, and confidently build industry relationships, so that you can move forward, and, like I said, move forward with allies. So make sure that you check us out over there at Black Screenwriter Alliance, and I will see you guys in the next live.